What's up, everybody? It's the Baked Runner. It's another Sunday, a fun day to run day. Sundays are my day. My wife and I have an agreement. I am okay to run as far and as long as I want to. So it's just really great where it's like special time just for me. And, I really enjoy getting out for a nice long run. And, I talk about like connecting with God when I run and different things and how I have a deal with God. For the garbage bags, I got 3 garbage bags today, so had to fulfill my part of the bargain today a little bit. But I do talk about God, but it's funny how people are hung up on words. I mean, I grew up a Catholic kid in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, and the religion was part of our life. It was part of school, but it never felt like they really were cramming it on us. But we kind of always were told about Jesus and all that kind of stuff. But I grew up, went to high school, even a Catholic high school, and never religion was like a huge part of my life. But, I've always known since the age of 16 that there is a God, without a doubt. The thing that happened was my cousin moved from Port Hardy, BC, to Saskatchewan. He was a year older than me. And he'd been getting into weed and acid and things like that out on the coast. And so within a few months of him moving in, we ended up going over to our friend's house and we dropped some acid. And when we dropped that acid, it was like, oh my God, this is what we've been missing the whole time. And the feeling that I had then, and then afterwards I got really, really into that experience. And when I was 16, I did it many, many more times, had a lot of experiences in my room, completely alone at night. And these psychedelics were giving me what I felt like was a glimpse to something greater, something else. And I felt like there was this central source, this light, this goodness of the universe that existed, and I was able to in some way see it more clearly and understand a little bit more about life, and also feeling like a little bit more about death, a little bit more about like what was going on past this world that we're in. So that has always been God to me. I say God all the time. My family and I talk about God. My 4-year-old has got a totally different God than my God. My wife's got a different God. Her mom's got a different God. My mom, who grew up in the Catholic system in Saskatchewan's got a different God. It's crazy. But the thing we can agree on is we're talking about the same thing. Okay? We're all talking about the same thing. The particulars don't matter. Right? The particulars don't matter. We're talking about the same thing. When we're talking about God, we're talking about this good thing that's out there that's helping in some way. We don't really know exactly how or whatever or why or where we came from, but there is this source, this, the creator, or is a good way of saying it. Other people call it God. I'm sure other people call it all different types of things. I mean, my idea is that every religion in the entire world is talking about the same thing. They're just talking about it in different ways, and then people argue about the particulars, and it's like, you're actually talking about the same thing. My experiment would be to get the leaders from all the countries together and do a psychedelic and be like, oh yeah, we are talking about the same thing. The source, the creation, the good part of what's there, A lot of people would never say they're religious, but if you ask people, do you think that there's something? Most people do feel like there is something. There's something going on past the veil. And, in some cases, psychedelics can be a very good portal into that area. Most people may know that are into psychedelics that magic mushrooms or psilocybin has been approved for the treatment of people that are dying. So when people have high anxiety about dying and they're, feeling, extremely vulnerable, they're going on psychedelic mushrooms, and they're finding that it's helping them significantly. Why? From my experience, is probably because they're seeing the other side, and they're realizing that there is something after this life. And no one can explain it, and no one can, everyone should be different. Mine's different than other people's, but my relationship with that thing is really important, and it really spurs me on to do things in my life that are good and that are, bringing me good karma. I never believed in a God that would judge you at the end. I thought it was going to be like, oh shit, it's up. And then you judge yourself like, oh my God, I can't believe my life is over and I never did this and this and this and I wasted all my time doing this. I think that's what happens when you die, is like you are judging yourself, and you're the one that's going to be like, oh shit, or good for me, or a million other things. So keep that in mind. Maybe, don't believe it, or just believe it a little bit and just try it just for fun. It doesn't have to be the God of any religion, or even call it God. A lot of people call it the universe. People call it all different types of things. It's the same thing. It's the connection. And, if you do, delve into a psychedelic, make sure you always start very small. This isn't like going for it all first try. You should really delve in very slowly, get, used to those feelings a bit, and then possibly push it to a limit where you may find something very significant that can happen to you. It's happened to me. It's happened to a lot of the friends that I know, and I think it is a healthy part of what a person can do to really expand their mind, and to also, try to explain these things about God and different things and try to get a different perspective, because it really does help and work. So take care, everybody. I'll see you next week after my run, and hopefully I will have had some time to come up with something to talk about that's informative and can leave you with something to think about all day. Bye, everyone.